Right, guys, welcome to another episode of Prep Survival. I'm Wolf Cross, your wonderful host, and in this episode you're sitting at home, everything's all hunky-dory, when suddenly lights go out. You don't know what caused it. Maybe power outage, maybe burnt wiring in your house, or maybe it's the end of the world and you just got hit with an EMP or a mass coronal ejection. You don't know yet. So let's talk about bugging in. Stay tuned. Alright, so we're bugging in. What's the first thing we're gonna do? Gonna get out the old cell phone. Gonna check that out. Check Facebook and Twitter. Because you know what? If something's going on, there's a good chance it's gonna be on Facebook or Twitter. Because that's where everything happens these days. Alright, we found out it's just a storm. Localized blackout. Could be a few days before power comes back on. So, what do we need now? Because we're going to be inside for a bit. First things first, we're going to need some light. Like this wonderful McKinley lantern I got here. Top comes off and comes a flashlight too. But, yeah. We're going to need headlamps. I don't have one, but there's a lot of stuff here. Alright. We're going to need other light. It doesn't run off batteries. Now a lot of you go out buying those expensive 9-hour disaster candles, UCO survival candles. Well, you know what? If you got a wife like mine who buys way too much of that scentsy shit and scented shit, you got a ton of candles already ready to go, and you don't even have to go buy them. Right, gonna need to make a way to make fire. Just a box of matches. A lot of matches, 250 matches, but it's just a box of matches. I don't want to know what that was. You don't need fancy storm-proof, wind-proof matches. The only reason I bought this one is because it was a 250 bucks of matches for $1. Right. And then you're going to need one of these. What is this, you say? Why, this is a flashlight, a radio. Let's turn it on here. It also does weather band. And it's a phone charger, all in one, and it has solar power, charges off the wall, or hand crank. So now I can listen to the weather reports. Get your face out there, or the local news, or whatever. I tell you, during the Fort McMurray evacuation, local news was a big thing. What's next? Super important, first aid kit. Now this is just some Walmart first aid kit I bought. I lost most of it and rebuilt it with my own stuff, but I just keep it around because it clearly says first aid kit on it, so there's no confusion about what it is. Next, spare batteries. Whatever you got in the house that runs off batteries that you think you might need, you keep spare batteries. Keep all the spare batteries. Now, what about eatings? Well, power's out, so you can start in the fridge. Eat everything that's fresh, eat everything that's frozen. Eat it as quickly as possible. If you got a barbecue, barbecue it. If you got a jet boil it. Even if you got one of these. It's just a folding stove. You put a frying pan on top, throw a couple of these tablets in it, you're good to go. That don't even cost that much. So you're gonna, like I said, start with the fridge and the freezer. And then once you got all that done, move to the pantry. Anything that's got an early expiry date, eat that. Once you're done in there, you gotta go up to the next step. Your canned goods. Start on your canned goods. Once you run out of those, then it's on your dehydrated backpacker meals and your MREs. But that's last. So follows like this: fridge and freezer, pantry, canned goods, dehydrated food. Right. So eating all that dehydrated food, you're gonna get a little thirsty. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna go out and you're gonna get you a couple of these. And as soon as the power goes out, you're gonna fill all these up. You're gonna fill your bathtub up. You're gonna fill your sinks up. Plug it any way you can, because you are gonna want all the water available. Plus, that way you can use water to flush the toilet. If the toilets don't work, I recommend going to find a 5-gallon bucket and a pool noodle. But enough about that. Right, so we got all these electronic gizmos. We got our little one. But odds are, this probably only charge your smartphone once, and then you'll be there for fucking 5 days trying to charge it. So that's bullshit. So, next step, battery pack, solar panel. Well, this is a solar panel and a battery pack. These I picked up at Walmart. They dirt cheap. There's Ozark Trail stuff. But you get a lot more charges out of this. Which brings me to my next thing. Radios. Now you don't need to go get the fancy ones. I don't think these are that fancy. Midlands. I bought them off of Amazon, I think. But if someone got to leave the house, these are handy to have. Because cell towers could be down and these work off localized channels. They also do weather now, or do the weather, just like the handheld one there. I am all over the place and I don't give a shit because this is my channel. Right, next up, tools. Have a tool kit. Have a good knife. Have vice grips. You know why? Because as soon as the power goes out, there's two things you're going to want to do. You're going to want to go to your power box. It's just like this. Pop her open. Find the master switch. Flick that shit off. That'll keep all your shit from shorting out. Then you take your pliers, your vice grips, whatever you got. You're going to go out and you're going to find a gas shut-off valve. You're going to crank that motherfucker into the off position. Because that way your house won't blow up. Alright, other stuff you should have on hand. Safety glasses, goggles. I mean, depending on the storm, you could get some broken glass or whatever caused it. A couple of these babies, N95 mask. Because once again, you never know what the storm could cause. Plus, you might eventually have to bug out. Be sure to check out my bug out video down below. Alright, another thing you need. Depending on where you live, it could be pretty cold. Especially at night. So get yourself, oh shit, I'm stuck to myself. Get yourself a decent sub-zero sleeping bag. Get one for you, get one for everybody in your house. Make sure you got one. Because it gets cold at night. Alright. Now I'm not going to go into home defense because that's not what this is about. This is for everybody. Like if you live in an apartment. Now if you live in an apartment you probably don't have that much room for shit. So there's things like this. This is awesome because you're probably living by yourself. It's got water and it's got food and it's got a blanket. Because if you live in an apartment you probably can't afford a lot of shit. So buy one of these. It's got a 5-year shelf life. Good for one person for 3 days. Try to limit yourself, obviously. And I think we pretty much covered everything. Right, so let's go through the important ones. Check the internet. See what's going on. Shut off your power box. Shut off your gas line. Fill everything. Jugs, water bottles. If you got a recycling, go into your recycling. Fill all those bottles. They is all fillable. Because you don't know if the water pressure is going to get shut off too. Food order. Fridge. Freezer. Pantry. Canned. Dehydrated. Now remember, your fridge and your freezer are going to stay cold longer if you keep the door closed. So try to minimize the amount of time you have the door open. Oh, one last thing that everybody forgets. Some way to entertain yourself. Obviously, you're not going to be watching videos on your phone. You're not going to be watching TV. You're playing video games. So have board games. Have books. Something you can do to keep yourself entertained. Because otherwise, you'll just go crazy. Alright? So, until next time, for Prep Survival, I'm Wolf Cross saying, clean forever. Wolf out. Stand by. Leave me alone.